Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another English class. I'm Anurita, and today I shall be taking you through yet another beautiful poem, Crossing the Bar, written by Alfred Lord Tennyson, a very profound writer of the Victorian era. Lord Tennyson was a highly acclaimed poet, very renowned in his times and till date. His works are all, most of what he wrote were all classics, one classic being Ulysses. Lord Tennyson generally wrote mythological poems. He had many other kinds of works also, but these works, whether mythological or dealing with anything else, were really very profound. There was such a lot of wisdom hidden in what he said, genuine concern for things around him. But like so many other people of the Victorian ages, he did not take very well the changing times. And so he decided to move more towards the rural areas of England, where change was much, much slow. In fact, there was hardly any change at that time. He felt more comfortable in the way he had lived the whole of his life. Not very open to new thoughts, new changes, and new beliefs. In this particular poem, Lord Tennyson expresses all his thoughts about his nearing death, which he knew was imminent, and also his concerns for afterlife, his concerns that how would his near and dear ones react once he passed away. Crossing the Bar talks a lot about what he felt should be a good death, what he felt was due for him to receive after he died. So without much ado, let's try to understand the poem, Crossing the Bar. Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no mourning of the bar when I put out to sea. Right in the beginning, he talks of a sunset, यानी कि उनकी जिंदगी की शाम. Let me remind you here that this particular poem was penned by him when he was quite old. And therefore, with great concern, he looked towards his death as well. Sunset, the evening of his life, where most of his day was already spent, his life, the age that he has received in this birth time was already spent, and it was sunset, evening of his life. यानी कि उनकी जिंदगी की शाम. And evening star. Evening star refers to Venus, the planet that could be seen very clearly most of the time in European sunsets and night times. This also refers to the preceding nightfall, preceding night. The preceding nightfall, which means the night that was evident. It would come surely. Sunset, at the moment, it was the sunset in the poet's life. And evening star, from where he could see the night setting upon his life. And one call for me, and the one definite call that he awaited. And what is this call? This particular call, and one clear call for me. Clear call. Call from his maker. Call from his maker. Call from the Lord. He was a believer. He believed in Lord. He believed in God. And what is he waiting for? The Lord that who had sent him, given him a lifetime to live, would any day, any time, with one clear call, have him back. And may there be no mourning of the bar when I put out to sea. He says, when I receive this calling, when it is my time to go, when I am summoned by God, then I do not want that there should be any kind of mourning. Mourning, again, over here refers to lamentation, or grief. वो कहता है कि अब मेरी जिंदगी की शाम है और रात का तारा दिखने लगा है, which means कि रात अब बहुत पास है, यानी उसकी जिंदगी कभी भी ख़त्म हो सकती है, कभी भी ऊपर वाला उसको आवाज़ देगा और वो वापस जाएगा. मगर जब ऐसा होगा, when he meets his death, then he does not want any kind of lamentation, any kind of grieving, because according to him, it is not sad to pass away. It is but natural that he will go. And he looks forward to his journey after his life. So I'll read these lines again. Sunset and the evening star and one clear call for me. Me over here is Alfred Lord Tennyson himself. And there may be no mourning, he says, and I expect nobody to mourn, nobody to cry, nobody to grieve over my passing away or passing on. When I put out to sea, when I put out to sea, please mark these words. Put out to sea over here refers to journey after life. Journey in his afterlife, after his death. Because we all believe that this world, this journey, this world may come to an end, but our journey as a soul continues and continues. And from these words, it is very evident that even Lord Tennyson believed the same, that his journey was not over, but he would simply pass on into another sea, a different kind of existence, probably. That is what he meant. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out this boundless deep turns again home. So let's pay attention to these words. But such a tide as moving seems asleep. In the second verse of his poem, he talks about what does he expect should happen when he breathes his last, when he passes on from his mortal form into his immortal form. He expects that such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. He refers to a particular comparison. Here what he's talking about is that sometimes when the tide is low, then there are possibilities that for a ship to move from the shore into the depth of the ocean becomes a little difficult. And the waves are continuously and noisily lashing on the seashore. On the other hand, when the ocean is full, the tide is high, then any kind of ship to pass on into the depths of the ocean from the shore becomes really very easy. Because between the lower level of water and the deeper water in the depths of the ocean, there lies a barrier made of sand and rocks. Once the ship has successfully crossed this, the journey becomes smooth. But the barrier between the shallow waters and the deeper waters can always be very obstructive. This barrier is what, according to him, separates life and death. What he knows is that in case the tide is full, then the ship, again metaphorically his soul will cross over from this mortal form to the immortal form without much problem, without much ado, without much confusion, without much pain. But such a tide, what kind of a tide? That moving seems asleep, that looks almost motionless. We must understand, let me remind you again, that when the tide is high, जब समंदर में पानी बहुत होता है, टाइड हाई होती है, पानी का लेवल समंदर में ज़्यादा होता है, तो नीचे की सतह पता नहीं चलती. नीचे की सतह रॉकी होती है, फुल ऑफ सैंड होती है. उस सैंड वो बैरियर जैसा होता है जिसमें कि जब कोई भी पानी का जहाज़ क्रॉस ओवर करता है तो उसको दिक्कत होती है. लेकिन अगर टाइड ऊंची होती है, पानी ज़्यादा होता है, उस टाइम लहरें कम उठ रही होती हैं और पानी ज़्यादा होता है, तो कोई भी पानी का जहाज़ बड़े इत्मीनान से, प्यार से, बिना किसी दिक्कत से, जैसे कि नींद में आराम से, जैसे सपने में स्मूथली क्रॉस ओवर कर जाता है. वही वो चाहता है. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, that is motionless. A tide that is high would seem motionless. Too full for sound and foam. A tide that is full will not be noisy, will not make too much of a show. When the tide is low, then the waves rise and make a lot of noise and bring a lot of foam on the seashore. जब पानी का लेवल कम होता है ओशन में, बीचेस के आसपास, तो लहरें और तेजी से और शोर मचाती हुई आती हैं और वापस जाती हैं, आती हैं और फिर वापस चली जाती हैं, और उनके अंदर सफ़ेद सफ़ेद झाग बराबर उठता रहता है. पर वो ये नहीं चाहता, वो ये कोई शोर, कोई दिखावा नहीं चाहता. When that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. He refers here, when should this happen? He says, my soul rose from the depths of the afterlife, came into a mortal life, and now must return again to the Lord, my Maker. That is simply what he means. Again and again, he refers to the boundless deep. Boundless deep, the unlimited expanse of afterlife, the infinite, the eternal, that which cannot be measured. That is why he calls it boundless, immeasurable depth, immeasurable vastness of the afterlife. But such a tide, he expects that the tide should be such that its moving seems asleep, that it seems almost smooth, so smooth as if one moved on in a sleep, too full for sound and foam, too full to make too much noise or too much show. When that which drew from out the boundless deep turns against whom? When that over here refers to his soul that had risen from the depths of eternity to take a mortal life, returns again to his Maker, his Lord. To the boundless deep turns again home. Home is in the Lord's care and protection. Again, too full for sound and foam can also refer to a death which is noisy is not welcome. A death which will come with suffering is not welcome. He wants a smooth transition from life onto death. He does not want to be scratched by the rocks, or he does not want to get stuck as his soul moves into the afterlife. He wants a smooth transition. So, twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark. Twilight, as he writes the poem, he moves on in time. When he says twilight, he is already talking of a time in his afterlife when he's imagining that he has already passed over from mortal life into the immortal eternity, where he shall be taken by the ferryman or the undertaker. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark. This is the time, let me tell you again, twilight and evening bell. Twilight over here refers to that it is, he imagines that he has already come to the threshold of his death. And evening bell, and the bell is ringing. The bell is ringing. That is his call. He's being called over. The tolling bell is calling him on. And after that, the dark. And after that, mortal life goes all dark. There is nothing left in the body. It has gone. This particular mortal body is left in complete darkness. And may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. He tells those who are his near and dear ones that when I leave my mortal shell, when my call comes and the bell rings and I move on, then he expects that his near and dear ones make no hue and cry. And may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. Embark, begin my journey. Begin my journey. For though from out are born of time and place, the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. In the last verse he says, for though from out are born, zone or realm, R-E-A-L-M, realm or zone of time and space, the world that we know so well as we humans perceive it. For though out, away from this mortal life, away from all the materialism, away from earth, away from its foundation of time and place, the flood may bear me far. Flood again refers to the tide of the ocean. Let me clarify this even more. The tidal waters of the ocean may bear me far. I hope to see my pilot. Pilot over here, maker. God. Face to face when I have crossed the bar. Crossed the bar, crossed the threshold. Crossed the threshold of death. For though from out are born of time and place, for though out of the boundaries of the zones of time and space known to humans, the flood may bear me far. The waters of the ocean of afterlife will take me far, far and further away from this world. I hope to see my pilot. I hope to see my Lord, my Maker. When I have crossed the bar, when he has crossed the threshold of death. This is what this particular poem is all about. His concerns to have a peaceful death. His concern that once he is out into the oceans again of the unknown, he hopes that his bearers will carry his soul. Again, metaphorically speaking, the ship is his soul. His soul to his Lord, where he shall remain in Lord's protection, Lord's love forever and ever. So with this, we come to an end of yet another poem, this one, Crossing the Bar. I hope you understood it, and thank you for all your patience. We shall meet again soon.